I don't get it. Why are you always late? What is the deal? Every single time you're late. First, you bump the time to a different time. Now you're late, even at the time. What's the deal?
Piss poor time management. I don't know.
You're
Um,
late for everything. I got to thinking about this. I don't think I can recall you being on time for anything. I think this is
Mike, I
something
would
we're going to have
agree
to start
with
to fix.
you. It's one thing I don't like about myself. How's that? I don't like it, but things seem to always get in the way. Right now, a couple of minutes late, uh, even a few minutes late, or even 5 minutes early is actually late. Um,
I don't know what any of that means, but we got to fix that. We got to fix that. We're already off to a bad start.
I've tried. I've
We're already
tried.
off to a bad
It's
start.
just an indicator that I let things get in the way
Yeah.
and push me back.
Okay.
I'm too emotionally tied to all the scenario of always being late. Emotionally tied, meaning I let these little things get in the way and throw me off kilter.
Right.
And the other thing that added to the frustration or exacerbated this whole issue about being late is just trying to figure out how to log on. That was the other thing.
I went through it with you
Yeah,
yesterday,
yeah.
and you forgot.
Well,
Yeah.
we're still new.
Yeah. Okay.
By the
All right.
way, hello, folks. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. So another piece of business here. You showed the trailer to some people,
Wait,
and
wait a minute. One other thing. I do want to say I apologize and I'm sorry.
for what?
Just keeping you
Oh,
waiting.
oh, that's water
Look at the
down.
look on your face. Come on. We're
Yeah.
trying to
Well.
move on.
Okay. All right.
So,
So you showed the trailer to some people, and they thought I was being mean to you.
I guess they don't know you. Yes,
Okay. Yes
to
is the
answer
answer.
your question.
Okay.
Yeah,
And they thought I was.
yeah,
Do any
yeah.
of them
They don't
know me?
understand why though.
Did any of them know
No,
me?
that's
No.
the thing.
All right.
We got to do this podcast. We're going to work through it. We're brothers. We share a bond. This whole experience that we have. People will get to know us, and they'll know that you're not such a bad guy after all.
Well, just so they don't try to
You're
contact me.
likable.
Just so they don't try to contact me. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
I did
Yeah,
put
yeah.
together an
You got to stop being so reluctant.
yeah. All right. Well, I put together an
I see
email.
you dressed up today.
This is in
Okay.
the this is in the routine. I just have these things that I keep my clothes in a certain routine, so that today it's blue. Tomorrow it could be black. Who knows? They're there and I put them on. All right. So I
Remember,
put
wait, one more thing.
dude.
RC Sproul. Remember RC Sproul?
Yeah.
How he had only like 5 suits
Hmm.
or something like that. But you're saying you're a little bit more varied. You're colorful. You got a shirt on. I'm just complimenting you. It's an
Yeah.
upgrade.
It's an upgrade.
But people
Um,
don't know you, so
yeah.
that's the whole thing.
Funny thing you bring up suits. My wife got some pictures sent from her parents' house. So her father passed and her mother's no longer living at home. So some stuff got sent to us, right? And I opened up this picture, right? And it's a 34-year-old picture. We were on the wine train in Napa, right? With her parents. And I look at the suit jacket I'm wearing. I got it in the closet right here. I still use it. It's 30 something years old. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about, consistency. And it's back in style. So, I mean, I was really happy about that. But I got a lot of clothes that are like 30 years old that they're a little big for me right now, to be honest with you. But it's okay. It's one of those things that, yeah, I don't own a suit. I don't have a suit. I have slacks, a couple of nice
We
shirts,
talk
and
about
jackets. That's it. What?
one thing in our prison experience. We talk about in our prison experience before. That's another thing that we're going to talk about where people don't know really
Yeah.
our experience was I just sent you off on a tangent accidentally, but that's how we work. We need to catch that rabbit though. So I interrupted you right when you were on something. The neat trick here is between us is getting back on track. Do you remember where I cut you off at?
Yeah. Hang on for a second. I'm going to be right back. Entertain everybody for a second.
Okay. Hello, folks. You're watching the Novaturients podcast series, and that is Mike Savage, otherwise affectionately known as Brother Mike, and I'm Richard Maldonado.
Okay, so here I am. All right,
So,
so what I'm teaching sometimes, some students will tend to go off on these rabbit trails, right? And so I have this little device here to help bring them back. So when you hear that, you're on a rabbit trail and you need to settle down, pull back. All right. So this is the sound where the hand goes up,
okay.
mouth goes shut. That doesn't work with you. So when you hear that, that's the plan. All right. All right. I had it here in the office for a while, but Cynthia took it away because I kept banging away on it in a meeting like at 9 o'clock at night. So she just took it. But I recovered it. I brought it back. I'll tell her what I'm using it for, and it'll be fine. So that's the plan. All right. So this sound means you're on a rabbit trail. Stop. All right. So getting back to the jacket thing. All right. I have these clothes that are old, but they kind of still fit, and I can think of no reason to buy anything new. I mean, it's, my wife I think wants me to get rid of this stuff, but I have sentimental value. This is before going to prison clothes that I have. Not this obviously, but so I like them.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
nostalgic is more what I'm saying at this point. So you can like me because I'm nostalgic, folks. There you go. So how was your week?
Well, before going to prison, look, I thought that would be the look, but if I remember your crime, again, this is a true crimes podcast series.
No.
I would imagine you dressing in suits all the time because
Yes.
being
I had suits.
you furthered your crime, you're in the business. Oh, Mr. Martinez is calling, but
No, don't talk.
I
Don't talk to me.
am.
That's guys. No,
Yeah,
don't
I
talk.
know. I'm gonna decline the call
You
right
didn't
now.
turn your phone off.
I
All right.
thought I did.
Well,
I
apparently
thought I
not.
did.
He's gonna keep calling. Just turn
Apparently
it off.
not because I'm running late. I get flustered.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So how's your week
Again,
been?
I apologize.
What'd you do this week?
Oh my God. It's still I forgot what it was yesterday that we talked about because there's just so much going on, and I escalate things and my feelings and emotions. I calm down, and then everything subsides.
Yeah.
I speak to you and a couple of close friends help bring me down. And you know what? The whole thing about this true crimes and doing time and stuff like that has really given me experience of one thing I think a lot of people lack is patience. We've had no choice but to learn patience and what that really is. I remember sticking on this true crimes topic. I met, uh, what was that guy's name? General Noriega, Manuel Noriega from Panama, that they arrested. Well, the feds were on him for
Well, they didn't
the
exactly
longest
arrest
time
him. They invaded his country and they yanked him out.
and kidnapped him. Right.
Yeah, it's not your
The same.
typical
The same with a
arrest.
couple of. Same with a couple of. Yeah, you guys have to know this. They really do kidnap people when they can't extradite them.
How you do?
Watch your ass. You know, the if the government wants you here in the U.S., you're going.
Huh.
So, because that just reminds me, two other people I met, but one of them was Noriega's banker. He did all the, uh, but this topic about patience. I was like 3 years into my bit at Lompoc, and I'm sitting there. I forgot his name, but he told me what he was there for. He had already been in 10 years, and he had what they call an indefinite sentence. He had no idea when he was getting out.
I know who that
I
is.
said,
That's the
"How
guy
long have
who
you been down?"
supposedly stole the B-2 bomber secrets, and it turned out to be some.
No, no, no. That was the other guy. That was the other guy.
He got a double life.
That was another guy. Yeah, I worked with him in Unicorn in the factory. But anyways, uh, here I go talking my prison lingo stuff that number one, no one's going to understand what we're talking about until we delve it out a little bit more. But yeah, Unicorn business. But anyways, back to this gentleman. Um, he'd already 3 years into my sentence. I had 15, right? So I had many, many years to go still. And I asked him, how long you been in? He goes, 10 years. I like, we're in jail already. And I'm over here shocked that he's got 10 years in. I think I was taken back because of the amount of time I still had to do, that I was looking in front of me. And I said, wow, 10, 10 years. How do you deal with that? He goes, patience, my friend, patience. And that stuck with me. That's why we're talking about it today. So, just one of the things when curveballs in life are thrown at you, I'm dealing with a big chunk of a weight on my shoulder during this time, and patience was the operative word. So, yes, people, I do go off. I've been called a nut job, crazy, fanatical, let it go, Rich, get off that ledge, don't jump. When I really do feel like I should jump just to disappear and do away with everything. But
But I
there's
never
just
said any of
something
those
in
things to
me
you.
that,
Hey, let me get it straight. I never
no,
said
no,
anything.
no, no, of course.
Right. These are people outside
Yep,
the
yeah, let's get that right.
yeah, they're outside the loop.
Let's change the names to protect the guilty. Yes, I get it,
Right.
which is the theme of our podcast series, right? But anyways, yeah, no, you've never said anything like that. But the patience thing, and another guy just on kidnapping when I was in Chicago. I did a year in Chicago before. That's the beautiful thing about being in the feds. You get arrested somewhere else, and you get to petition the court to send you back, not home, but somewhere near home that is going to be home for a few years, so your friends and family can visit you. So yeah, you got that smorgasbord of places to pick from when you're in the feds. But anyways, when I was in Chicago, yeah, another guy that got kidnapped, and he was one of Pablo Escobar's guys, you know. So yeah. Oh, two guys. So I've known three guys that have been kidnapped by the government to face charges here in the U.S. So it's real, guys. It's real.
Yeah, and we justify it. But I don't want to get into that part of it. The thing that about this podcast that was beginning to get to me was this having to think back on stuff that made me uncomfortable. You know, that's that.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of
yeah. You were always uncomfortable, Mike.
yeah, no, I just was
Mike,
always
you were never comfortable.
yeah, I know. Okay, can I tell my
Well,
story?
I guess. You know what? You're right. Only comfort. Wait, wait, wait. One more thing.
Oh,
The comfort zone was your guitar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm still gonna get in.
First thing that popped into my head was I'd hit the yard in Lompoc, right? And for remember what they go PSRs, pre-sentence reports, and then whatever they called
Oh
it
yeah,
after.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, you got a copy of it back in the day, and you could bring it
Mm-hmm.
with you and your legal stuff. You usually needed it if you were going to try to appeal or whatever. So
I know where you're going. I know where you're going with this.
I get to the yard, and I'm there maybe a day. And this guy comes up. I guess he'd been there for a while. Maybe thought he was a shot caller or something. And he said, "Next time you come out on the yard, bring your report with you. We
Have your
want to make sure
paperwork.
you're not a rat."
Yep.
And I
Exactly.
said,
That's why I said I know where you're going with this.
"Well, they don't. The people who are supposedly watching this."
Listen. Yeah, yeah. No. Of
Now
course.
you're
Tell your
getting me
story.
upset. Now I'm getting upset. All right. So guy says, bring your paperwork. Okay. So I grab it. I said, okay, I'll tell you what. You bring yours and I'll bring mine. And he was offended. He got all worked up over that. He said, I'm not any rat and anything. I said, I don't know that. I don't know if you're not a plant for the, I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are.
Right.
But if you're going to tell me to do something, you bring yours, I'll bring mine. And so he said, fine. So he took his, I grabbed mine, I come back. Dude's got like 3 years to do, right? On a 5-year bet. He's still at Lompoc. So I said, all right, we'll
I'm
swap.
sorry.
I know. I swapped
That's
paperwork
that's
with,
funny to us.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's funny to us though.
if I'd known that, I never would have brought the thing. But I handed mine to him. And he was there for doing something like speeding in a federal park or something stupid for like a bunch of times he'd done that. And so they gave him like 5 years for
Okay.
speeding in a federal park again. He looks at mine. I look at his sentence, and I just close the thing and I just look at it. I'm waiting. So he's reading mine. His eyes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, I'm really sorry that I did this. I'm really sorry. I'll hook you up with whatever you need to have hooked up here. I said, I don't need anything from you. Leave me alone. Because I'd already been talking to some guys. I was going to be working in the kitchen and making Pruno. Now, for those of you who don't know what Pruno is, that's illegal alcohol, right? Generally made using some sort of yeast stuff, or you can use bread and fruit, and you let it ferment in a warm place. And it's pretty potent stuff. I mean, there were some guys at other prisons that went blind to it, but I was already hooked up because the guys who knew me from before had already made sure that I was going to be hooked up when I got there. So, I mean, it was just, it made me really uncomfortable because I thought I'm going to have to smack this guy or something, right? Because that's the attitude you got to have. You know, I come out of county jail to detention center where you got all kinds of mixed stuff going on there, all this crazy stuff. And that brought back a side of me, and I'm thinking, one, I'm glad I'm not that way anymore. But two, what kind of community prison really is, where everybody's supposed to be a tough guy. Everybody's supposed to be a tough guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I got misdiagnosed.
Oh, yeah.
They had originally designated me. I was supposed to go to the what was it, the medium at Lompoc or low at Lompoc, whatever what they call it, FCC.
Wait. Yeah.
Right. But I got sent to the penitentiary by mistake and spent like 3 months there until they discovered
the USP.
Yeah, the one right next across the street. So I was there for a while.
Right, where the Hells Angels and all the real gangsters are. Yeah.
I already had a bad attitude coming in. So it was like, now this little guy is going to be. So it's like, that's the type of stuff. And sometimes that's one of the reasons I tend to resist talking much about prison, because it can bring back some bad memories. I mean, we went through some pretty crazy stuff, when transferring people and fires and riots and all this stuff.
If I may interject, This is kind of, you're bringing up the memories, and I'm laughing my ass off here. It just shows how institutionalized I was, and you're bringing back these memories because they're funny.
Yeah.
Maybe to the audience, it's not, and that's the uniqueness in our experience that we want to do this podcast. Talk about true crimes, talk about prison in the sense of what do we do now with our lives? How do we move forward in what I'm going to dub the unprisoned phase, coming out of the stretch of time that you and I did. You did 17, I did 15. You asked what?
Isn't that copyrighted, Unprisoned?
Oh yeah, no, it's a TV series. It's a comedy.
Yeah, but
the thing is, here's the thing about this whole podcast.
All right, go ahead.
This is the thing that inspired me to do the podcast. Everyone's going viral, became famous as an influencer in social media, some guru thing of, but these influencers, I got to tell you, when I looked at the landscape, they're all talking about somebody else's crap. It's not even their own. This is our own contact. I mean, here's the beauty in this. People are seeing this in real time, hearing us in real time, seeing us talk about our experiences. The hashtag true crimes, huge. So I know that if we can get in front of who we are with this hashtag and this platform talking about true crimes, but then again share our experiences and how this is just for me, and I know you'll resonate the same, but for me personally speaking, folks, I've gained some wisdom out of this. I think going to prison, going to jail, they're two different things, really helped me. It made me a better person. In fact, that made the news just yesterday. They released for the first time ever, of any of the group, the Manson killers. She got freed after doing 50 years in prison. And the funny thing is, By the time she went to trial 3 years later, she was already eligible for probation, and they still stuck it to her. And they kept denying her parole, but she had a zero, Mike. And to us, this means something. 50 years, not a single incident report. You you never got really charged. Let's talk about some relevant things here. You went to the hole,
A
though.
lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
The shoe, special
Solitary
housing
confinement.
unit, a
Yep.
lot, right? But you
Yeah.
never officially had your good time taken away for it,
Nothing.
because the
Nothing
first
stuck.
time I landed in the shoe for an investigation of an incident that happened on the yard, told you about it before. A guy got hit while we're watching TV on a big screen TV. Somebody clocks this guy with a mop wringer bucket. Boom, blood all over the place. People scrambled, and there's a fight. So I was caught up in there. Okay, and so I got called up, report to the sergeant's office or lieutenant's office, right? And then they cuffed me and they threw me in a room with jail bars, and I tripped out because of my institutionalized. I already been down 3 years, and so I was used to the lay of the land, kind of college dorm type feel. You're locked up, He-Man Women Haters Club, right? No women allowed. It's all men. It's a village. It's a self-sustaining environment, you know. But I'm thrown in a jail cell, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm in jail. Not Remember, I told you there's a difference between jail and prison. I'm in jail now, and I'm tripping out because I'm already in prison. But I forget the fact, I'm so demented already, institutionalized, and comfortable with my stay and my surrounding. I get the reality of being in jail again. It's just weird. I think it's strange. I don't know how you felt, but that's what I wanted to say about this shoe thing. Um, yeah, these experiences they were very trying. I'm sure you had your your walk, and everyone's got an individual walk. And we talk about it was called papering up when you hit the yard and you had your PSR. I had mine. Luckily for me, if I didn't have my PSR report, I had my case published by the Federal Court of Appeals in the Seventh Circuit, which is Chicago, and there's um, where my case is at. It's public record. One thing I know, I'm not a rat. You're not a rat. You got a lot of time. Rats don't get a lot of time. So I thought it was hilarious that this guy, pinned you up the way he did, and he only had a 3 year sentence out of five. So
Yeah.
um, that's hilarious. That's wino time. That's baby time. Just it's incredible, the dichotomy and stuff like that. We also talk about levels. Uh, it's either based on your crime. You inadvertently got sent to the USP, which you shouldn't have, because the Bureau of Prisons has uh, uh, these staggered levels. Again, it's based on the type of crime you have. If you have violence in your background, then you go straight to the USP. Or if you have a gang of time, more than, I think, 25, 30 years, then you're going to the USP. That's it. So we are at the medium level, which anywhere from 10 years up to that 20, 25 year level, you're in the medium. And even if you're a snitch, you're still in that level because of the type of crime or the amount of time you did. Or it could be this guy's background, a bunch of parking tickets. Oh well, but on federal land, that'll land you in there. And then eventually there is, really, folks, there is such a thing as called Camp Snoopy. That's everybody's dreamland of all of us doing time, that we could actually end up in Camp Snoopy after, I think the requirement is 10 years or less. And to me, that was funny in itself. Again, I didn't realize I was institutionalized. I'm thinking when anybody on the outside looks at this, they're going to say, "What the hell?" 10 years or less. I hit the 10-year mark. I maintain my good time behavior. I don't get in trouble. I'm a model, quote unquote, inmate. That's what I was told by the warden and a couple of staff. Hey, Rich, or Maldonado, you're a model inmate, so you qualify for this camp. And I remember you and I were really good friends by then at Lompoc. I couldn't wait for you to get to camp because I was already there a year and a half before you. So we made it to camp. So um, a lot of stories still out of camp, but in the thing with camp, it's mixed up with all the low level offenders and rats. People that actually will snitch on you. There's a difference being a rat in your case that I had no business of. If the guy was a rat, so what? I couldn't trust him as much. But being a rat inside prison, that's different. That takes it to a whole nother level.
Well,
Mind your own business, please.
some things you
So
guys
that
need.
gets me worked up.
Some guys you probably need to know this. In the feds, you do 85% of your time. Period. There's no extra good time. None of that. Uh, so you're doing 85% of whatever your sentence is. You're not. There's no way to improve that. That's just the way it is. Now,
Let's bump it up more. Let's just round it up to 90% so people can really feel the gravity of this. That's a high percentage. 85%
and you
is
get
high.
around it
It's
tonight.
close to
Right.
90, guys. Okay.
All right. So thank you for the correction, Mr. Maldonado. Now, the other
No, no,
thing.
no. There's more insight for the folks. Ding, ding. Go on.
Right. My dog just jumped. All right. So
Okay.
here's the deal. You also, and this was very important to me, there's no conjugal visits. None. Zero. No conjugal visits in the feds. So if you're thinking, oh, what this
There
ain't,
used to be.
yeah, there used to be. This ain't the state,
Right.
right? So you're on your own. Family can visit, all of that kind of stuff. Yes, but there's no incentive for being good because the worst thing they can do is take away another 10. You're gonna do another 10%. All right. So that gives you kind of the atmosphere that we're talking about here. When you get to a camp, on the other hand, you're now exposed to a new level of uh, prisoner, inmate, and like Rich said, the rats are there. Okay, there's rats there, and and we should call them informants. All right, rats, they're informants. All right, but they can't stop talking. They can't stop telling because they think they're going to get some, but you don't get anything for that. You don't. There's no extra good time. You might get a commissary thing, or you might get extra phone privileges, but there's really no benefit. But it's in their nature. They just can't stop talking. All right. So I'll tell you one more
Exactly.
story. I'll tell you one more story. I didn't know that I was going to get to go to camp because I'd been under investigation so many times because I'm working in the chapel and supposedly that's where all this contraband comes in. Turns out it wasn't coming through the chapel, it was coming
Right.
through
Right.
the guards. All right. At any rate, so
The guards.
understanding I was the chapel clerk, go to the hole, something I'm never going to make camp. So I get to just under 10 years to go. I am rolled up one morning. That means, Savage, get all your stuff. You're being transferred. And I'm thinking, where am I going to go? And I get transferred with just under 10 years left of my sentence to a camp in Taft. And what's unusual about Taft is that it's being run by a private organization out of Texas who shall remain nameless. All right. So I get there, getting ready to go through processing, and where do I end up? The hole inside the main complex at Taft. Oh, you're going to be taken over probably tomorrow or something like that. We'll see. Okay. I do, after a couple of days, get taken over to the camp. And this guy, typical cowboy type mentality, comes in. I'm sitting in the visitor's room because there's somebody who wants to talk to me before I go to the thing. And he walks in and he looks me in the eye and says, "Son, are you going to try to escape?" I said, "No. Why would I try to escape? I got family I'm going to try and go home to." Oh, well, here's what I think. I've looked at your record and you have been under investigation a lot. And I figure where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think the Bureau of Prisons sent you over here so you can be our first escape. I said, wow, that's very creative. And they might have done something like that. I don't know. Because BOP couldn't stand the fact that there was a privatized institution. They hated them because it takes away jobs, whatever. So this guy was convinced.
Union. Yeah.
Yeah. This guy was convinced that I was a plant. I said, well, I guess you can send me back if you want. He says, no, that would look bad for the company, but I want you to know I will be having my eyes on you. Do not stray from the straight and narrow. So we're opening my camp experience with a threat, right? Just a promise, a threat. Now, would I still go to the hole from the camp? Oh, yeah. 2-3 times. The stuff, things happen. I was around and nothing stuck. I eventually got released. But that's the mentality that's heaped on because now you've got this war between privatization and the Bureau of Prisons. Now, I think they took all those private prisons away. I don't know if they did or didn't, but I mean, I know Taft closed because they had some foundational issues or whatever. At any rate, that's the mentality you got. And sometimes you've got some guards who I'm convinced had their money stolen from them, their lunch money when they were elementary school, and they're going to get back at people because they got this chip on their shoulder. Others are just, they're glad to have a paycheck. They always want to go home at the end of it. But you've got all these characters with all their different personalities that now influence your life. Now, first of all, I'm guilty of what I did. I admit it. Deserve to go to prison. Yes, I deserve to go to prison. And I'm not lamenting that or looking for any kind of sympathy. But when people start talking about true crime and we start talking about glamorizing it and all this sort of thing, and prison camps are so easy and they're this, that, and the other. I never met so many would-be tough guys in all the places that I was at than at that camp. Everybody thought they were just tough guys except for a couple of people. And it was like, my God, just shut up and do your time. But they wouldn't do it. And so, like I say, this is the dichotomy of being in all these different places. And imagine what it's like when you're finally, after 15 years, released to a federal halfway house. In my case, it was Oakland, California. They don't put halfway houses in posh areas. They're usually pretty rundown areas. Went to this halfway house. Now we have mixed custody, so high level, low level, and you got men and women under the same roof. So
Co-ed.
You got to catch up to what society's been doing. Like for me, the internet, cell phones, that was a big deal because I had no idea how they worked. The only time I saw a cell phone was when a guard smuggled one into a roommate or a cellmate that I had. That's the only time. So
we call it keystring, Mike. Remember that?
These people
Keister.
are different, and our mentality is different, and you can't help but be affected by that. That's why I'm the way I am now. Here's what I do. I teach college, university. I sit on dissertation committees for people getting their PhDs. I teach theology. I teach psychology, and I'm the chair of a counseling department for a small Christian college. All right. They all know about my background. They all know who I am, right? But it wasn't easy because my manners were entirely different than the manners that were expected. So it took a while to get there. So going through construction.
The prison phase.
Yeah, exactly. And so still to this day, I don't like going places where there's a lot of people. I don't like it. And if I do, if we go to a restaurant, I want to be able to see the door and I want my back to the wall because of all that.
Against the wall.
Yeah. And it comes natural to me. Whenever I was in a TV room in prison, where did I sit? The very back. All right.
In the back row.
All right. Very back row.
But yeah, exactly. No one can get you with a mop wringer unless you see it coming. But right. the thing is, here's this odd stuff about us. Number one, that person you described, I remember that Western-looking cowboy guy was the warden. the warden came and talked to you. In the real world, that's like the CEO of the company coming to chat with you a little bit. You know, people have to understand our mindset is a lot different, but we're already big fish in a system that we don't control or anything. So there's a lot of negotiations, pre stuff going on.
Yeah.
You know, that don't start none, there won't be none type of attitude. Yes, we're dealing with snitches. Just piggyback on one story that you had. The funny thing I found out in my it was in prison, but it happens in real life. Anybody that starts a conversation and it has nothing to do with what you're talking about, that person is usually what do you call it? Deflecting, or they're doing another word I learned, unsolicited comments. No one brought it up, but you. You know, this guy was a rat. He was a snitch. And one day we're sitting at Lompoc near the GA Services Center, and we're just talking, chatting late at night, and this guy brings up, oh, I hate rats and blah blah blah. He talks about rats and snitching. This dude set up one of our beloved cops, guards, COs, right? What does CO stand for?
Correctional
Correctional
officer.
officer, right? Right, CO guys. He sets up this guy. This guy was, oh my god! I used to love when he did standing count. He wouldn't even look at you. One, two, three. You know, just count like that. Walk down the road. Did his job right, but he wasn't a by the book kind of doing his job kind of guy. So he was really loved and respected. Ate with the inmates, meaning of how we have our spreads and shindigs, our own meals. Come by, hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, here's a burrito. All right, thank you guys, and then on his way. That type of guard. And this mother effer sets this guy up to do a sting, to bring stuff in, contraband from the outside into the prison, and boom. I think they sent him to Colorado somewhere to do 5 years. What a shame. The guy was a
Well,
rat.
all right, but hang on,
So,
hang on. Let's back up. I have an understanding about people who were informants or rats that I
okay.
got from working at the chapel. All right, and because I worked at the chapel, I was going to seminary at the time, doing all of that. People would come to me to talk about spiritual problems or issues at home, that sort of thing. And there were several that,
You're the bartender.
yeah, there were several that confessed to having been informants. Right now, some of these people, they wanted to stay home or be close to their family or not be gone for a long time because there were like special needs within the family that they were doing what they had to do in order to get back. All right. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate and understand that. Now, I didn't do that. You didn't do that. I get, but there's a whole different side to this informant thing. It's not just wanting to avoid jail time. It's because there's really some sincere special needs to get home. So while I'm not excusing anything, I'm also not coming down on that condemning side of they're all bad. I never said I hate rats. I never said that because enough of them had come and talked to me about this. And at the beginning, I was kind of like, you know how many informants were? But what I'm doing is growing. I grew in my understanding of who they are. So I'm not, and I couldn't say anything to anybody or ask anybody for advice because once I said I knew somebody was an informant, a rat, then that's another person that knows. And if something happened to that guy, it would be on me. You follow what I'm saying? So that's the mentality
Exactly. Yeah. No.
that I have towards that. I kept a lot of secrets. All right. And that was a part of me that has helped me out here to want to help students, to help people that I come into contact with. And it's not something that I was born with. It was something that was trained in me through these experiences. So that's one of the positive things that came out of that. All right, that was one of the negative things is I like everything wrapped in a tortilla now, and so that doesn't go well for what we're trying to eat here. It's like Mike, we just had tortillas the night before, and the night before, the night before. Marrying an Italian, it's got to be pasta, right? So we're going to deal with that. So there's some positives, some things, and changes, and stuff like that. But I don't want to give this impression that um, that people who are informants or were informants were just trying to get out of prison. I mean, look, some were. I get that, or they'd done stuff before and they were going to go away for life or whatever. I understand that, and each person's got to make their own decision. But some of them had some pretty compelling stories that, if they were true, it speaks to me, and I got it. So I just wanted to put that out there so we don't sound like we're bashing these guys.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to clarify that by piggybacking off of that so people will know. And there's a movie called The Snitch or Snitch with The Rock in it. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it kind of talks about that part of the before you get to jail. My issue with rats or snitches is this, because I had friends that had to confess to their participation in the case. Friends that really nice guys, for whatever reason, like you said, you got to know those reasons. That's different than being on the yard. When you're on the prison yard, you don't rat anybody out. We're all here in an enclosed environment. Yeah, people make somebody like you. Hey, we saw Mike Savage making pruno, and he's got it stashed over here in the laundry room up in the ceiling. That's a damn prison rat. You don't need that. Those are the kind of guys that, and they remember my incident. My incident was I helped a lot of people in the legal sense in the law library. I got ratted on for helping people, and the guy did it to get quote unquote brownie points so he can get a furlough. You know, you get 2 years short of your sentence, you get to leave the prison for a day on your first one, or 12 hours, whatever it is. But this guy thought it would be nice. What do they call it out here? Throw me under the bus with the warden and let him know that I'm, retooling and reworking his disciplinary committee hearings, and I was having victories left and right. But yeah, that's a no good rat. That somebody that did that to save his ass to get something out of a deal.
Yeah. All
So
right.
no, I don't appreciate rats in house. That's
No,
all.
okay. And just we're gonna have to
So
wrap this up here in a couple of minutes, but just to
yeah,
kind of tie this back to this guard that got fired, right? Are you
yeah,
aware of what he was bringing in?
no, no,
Heroin,
no, I don't remember.
heroin, cell phone. Okay, so this beloved guy, who I never talked to, whatever, do what I got to do. He's trying to smuggle in heroin and a cell phone, dude. So I just thought we'd talk about that.
But that's what he was set up to do. He was set up to do that. He was paid handsomely, but it was a setup. He wouldn't have done it
Of course, it's a setup.
unless this guy trying to, uh, I guess, get less time out of the deal. The rat that I was that said he wasn't a rat, hates rat. He set up the guard a sting operation
But the
for this
guard
to
still
happen.
made the
So that's the
decision
way
to
it's.
do it.
But here's the other scary thing that I want to say on guards. Scary situation. Well, for us, for the listeners, it's scary. I mean, for us, it's not. I'm sure you've been through a few riots like I have. Anything goes, right? Riots, things thrown out the windows. Um, it's just a mess. It's uncontrollable. But those guards that were cool were the ones that the inmates went to and said, "Look, stay in this broom closet. Don't come out." That's how we protected them. We didn't want them. We didn't. Everybody knew who the cool guards were, and they didn't get messed with. So
Right.
that's what I'm gonna say about beloved men. Men just doing their job, 8 hours, go home. That's
Yeah.
it. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the ones that are doing stuff. Like that other guy you're talking about. Okay, that's why I'm shocked a little bit. But The kind of guards that just don't bust a grape, they're not doing anything nefarious themselves. They're not involved in anything. They just they're just doing their job,
Yeah. I noticed
and
a real
that's the
difference
funny
in that.
thing that I've learned from being in the real world out here again. I don't have this mentality about I hate cops.
Right.
I don't like, we can spot when they're bad cops, and they're bad cops out there, guys. Okay, that the ones that do above and beyond their job. Just why can't we get to this? Hey, I was going too fast. You pulled me over. Blah blah blah. But yeah, uh, there is no me against them mentality anymore. They're just doing a job. That's their career. They're making a living. They're doing well. I applaud them. Just
Yeah.
don't try to do anything to me. Once you find out that I'm an ex-con, you think you own me. It doesn't work that way when you're in the feds. In the state, I noticed they do that. They try to bully these guys and throw them right back in violation, parole, whatever. We don't have parole. We have probation, supervised release, um, and we're
We
government
don't have
property,
that
whether
anymore.
we like it or not.
We don't have that supervised
Huh?
release anymore either. We're both office supervised release. So
No,
anybody
no,
might
no,
be thinking about getting us violated, not going to happen. All right. So
not
okay.
gonna
So that's
happen.
good.
No.
Next time, um, let's talk about you, what you're doing, all that kind of stuff, because that to me is a lot more interesting. But I know there's interest in look, we're going to continue to tell you the truth. We'll tell you the exact truth about what we went through.
Yes.
Got no reason to lie. You notice there's no commercials or anything here, no sponsorships, none of that. Now, if you do want to get in touch with us, you want to have a guest, you want to be on, you want to do something like that. Here's how you do it. All right, this is the only way. It's a Gmail account, and it's called the Novaturient Podcast at gmail.com. The Novaturient Podcast
Very
at gmail.com. Richard will answer all of those emails within probably 3 to 4 years. So I'll probably be seeing the email, right? We'll have a response, all right? Look, this has worked so far, the recording stuff. This is a new studio to me. I just set everything up, what was it, 2 days ago. So anybody's got suggestions, ideas, let us know about that too. There's no website. There is no merch. There's nothing like that. It's just two old guys talking. All right.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hopefully this will grow and people will have fun with this. We're going to have fun with it. But
Yeah.
the main thing to me, the overarching theme is to talk about these things and experiences and to talk about what we're doing today. But hopefully my intent of convincing you to do this is to help somebody else that is going through some tough times
Yep.
and want to succeed in something. That's the whole point. Share our experiences. Look at who we are now, and we're not. You know, we work through it. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing. We
Yeah,
work through it.
we both got beat down at the beginning getting
Friends and
out. There was
family, love.
no easy transition. So I
Yeah.
mean, there was a transition even with family life. We'll talk about it.
Oh,
In the
Mike.
meantime, I'm
Wait.
got
One more
going.
thing to
I
leave
got
the people with. What does Novaturient mean to you? Since you're the one that introduced it to me, how
well. First of all,
we
it's a
could.
verb. It's a verb. Okay, it's a verb means desiring change and so forth. And I made it personal with the Novaturient or Novaturients. So that's we want to help change people's lives by helping the way we can, encourage them, do that sort of thing. But I also want to see some change. Me, I want to grow. I want to be better. I want to be better at dealing with. No, I really don't want to be better at dealing with difficult people. I have my skills for that. But that's what I'm looking for: growth, change, substantive change. And the story that you're
But
going to
Mike, I
tell,
don't know how you could.
wait,
You really. And I got to applaud you. You have some really big accomplishments. I think you mentioned just earlier, at least two PhDs. Um, I don't know how else you can excel other than I guess just doing this outreach thing, right? That
no,
that helps.
no, I have this thing that when I'm around people that are in an academic setting, I have this tendency to look at myself as less than because of my background. Now, I may not come across that way, but that's a thing that sticks with me sometimes. I'm just being straightforward here. And I can't imagine I'm the only person that feels that way. It's done time, and you've
No,
kind of been
right
able to
here.
get to places, and you feel like you're less than. And maybe it's because of something that happened in my case, 30 odd years ago, right? But that's something I think that is common among guys like us, the guys that I've talked to, and that sort of thing. You kind of feel less than. You have to be a little more guarded. And so I want to change that. I want to change that about me. I want to help other people change that about them. I don't want to feel the less than. And that's why I don't like going to meetings. I really don't like meetings, but I love being with students, or I love counseling students, or pastors, or doing that sort of thing. And I like helping that way because I don't feel necessarily less than. But a lot of people have degrees like I have, and when you're sitting in the room, and they've had them longer than you have, and have perhaps been teaching longer, you may have a tendency, well, I'll show respect, but also just feel less than. And so I'm working to overcome that. What does that person mean when they're smiling at me for some reason? Is that just kind of a condescending smirk, or what's? So getting past that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for me, Mike, it's the same thing, but I have multiple things going on, but this feeling less than. I mean, you really hit it, the nail on the head for me. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I do feel less on, but what's worse for me, what's compounded is people will make me feel that I'm less than,
Yeah.
because once they find out I'm an ex-con, especially what I'm involved with now, and I'm really trying to get places, lots of money. I'm being judged all the time, and that's the reason why for this podcast too, for people to get to know the real me, not to assume or speculate because I have a past, as you call it, that I'm this thuggish kind of guy. I'm not, or I'm trying to rip somebody off. There's something complex about my thinking. People use it against me and try to think that I'm trying to manipulate, trying to control something. And Mike, you know my heart,
Hmm?
heart of gold. To I don't mean anything to take advantage of anyone at all. I'm there to help.
Yeah.
I want to help you.
Look, I wouldn't be here
That's me.
if
So
I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe that about you. Next time we're going to talk about Richard, what he's going to do, all this stuff, which I thoroughly don't understand at this point. And I'm also going to bring up a sore subject with him. I'll say the word right now, and then I'm going to turn my camera off and go away. Are you ready? Popcorn.
okay. What was
Popcorn.
that again?
Popcorn.
Oh, the popcorn.